I created an 8-week series where I teach you how to set up marketing, zoning, laws, and everything you need to know about starting your home based business. So if you're ready, let's get started. Hi there, everyone. My name is Steph, the massage therapist, and welcome back to my channel where I talk about tips and tricks, do's and don'ts on how to start, grow, and build your successful home based business. So, for this entire series, we are actually talking about 8 important topics that you need to understand when you build a home based practice. So I tried my best in compiling everything, checking everything for you, and trying to make sure that it's as affordable as possible. And for this week, we are going to start our episode by laying the foundation. Let's get started. Week one. What do you really need? When I started my home based business before with my mom, the common mistake I've done is I just bought stuff without a plan. I just said maybe I just need a table and sheets and some oil, and that's it, right? And I thought that patients would just come running and booking with me right after I just share the word. And I realized that that's not the case. It needs more work, right? And the main reason why I even started a home based practice before is number one, my mom is already doing it and she's not even a massage therapist. She doesn't have the license or the registration. I mean, she's professional, she's an esthetician, but it's not something like because there's two types here in Canada. If you're watching from another country, we need to be registered or licensed, right? And it needs a lot of schooling. And she did some schooling, but for the aesthetic side. And she's also offering body relaxation massages. So I said, if she can do it, I should be doing it. Because this is more my forte now, right? But one week passed by, two, then three, then four. I'm telling you, I didn't have anyone. So I had to work. And I thought I can just stay at home, wait for the patients, right? Like wait for the actual people to visit me. I was thinking, is that really the case? Should that be my first step? Did I do the right job of buying an electric table? And I don't even know if I can afford to pay it back. Where did I go wrong? And I figured it out. I didn't have the foundation. Here's the thing. Having a foundation is your stepping stone into ensuring that everything falls in place. The difference of having a home based business and a commercial or a brick and mortar business is that you're probably not on the state of mind that you treat it like a big business. You're just gonna buy things because it is what it is. You're just gonna buy a table because you're doing this part time. You're not treating it like a proper business. That's why some people don't respect home-based businesses because they don't think you're a brick and mortar. You're not treating yourself as a business. Doesn't matter where you work, you need to treat yourself like a business. Do you understand? Perfect. And that's one of the foundations that you should not miss at all. It's something that you should understand from the get go because if you want this home based business to work, you need to understand that your competitors are the brick and mortar companies or clinics around you. They offer what you're offering. And let's be real. If we're buying something, would you buy a service or a product in a sketchy place? No, right? And that's the reason why that's the first thing you put here. Treat yourself like it's a big business because you are. Telling you right now, the value that you give to your patients is the same value that the brick and mortar or the commercial businesses are giving. The only difference is you're working from home and they're not. You're a professional, right? Again, to summarize what I said, your business doesn't matter where it is. If it's a rented space or your own home based, it's all the same. The point is, are you able to give the value of your service to the people you want to receive it? That's number one. Doesn't matter if you're a commercial clinic or a home based clinic. You are your business, so take care of it. Capiche? Perfect. Next, now that you understand that your competitors are big and you're professional and you trust your brand so much, how can you strengthen it? You need to strengthen it. That's why you need to get the required certification that or registrations or the licenses for you to offer a specific service. Why? I'm going to give you this logic. Would you want to get operated by a surgeon who's not really certified? There's a lot of things that can go wrong with that. Maybe, okay, again, it's just my opinion, but maybe they think they know what they're doing, but they're not really following regulations, right? I mean, they're not regulated. They don't have a license to perform it. So that's the exact thing. Before you offer a service, make sure all your certifications, your registrations, licenses, all of those things are taken care of. For example, here in Canada, Ontario, or in Canada in general, even in the US, you need to have a license or registration. That's how we call it here. In the US, it's license, right? You need to get the registration to be a massage therapist. And it's a trademark name. And because it's trademark, it adds credibility to my services. So if I'm offering it because I'm a registered massage therapist or a licensed massage therapist offering the service, I'm an expert in this. So that's why getting the necessary certifications will be necessary, okay? But Steph, there are people who goes here and they already have the skill to massage. Do they still need to go to school? We've been doing this for 20 years. I do understand, but come to think of it, let's say you're doing this for cash. You're just doing this under the table. And then you made a big mistake. You made a boo boo. You injured a client. Whose problem is it? Yours. It's going to be your problem. And you don't have anything to back up that you are regulated. You don't have any backups that you're even eligible to do this. I mean, you can still do it. I'm not saying you can't, but having the required certification, licenses, and regulations would save you just in case something happens because you're an expert in this. And not just that, it's also for marketing purposes. They trust you're registered, you're licensed, you know what you're doing. We need to abide what the legislations are so that it doesn't give us a lot of headache in the future, like if you can avoid getting in trouble in the future, so do whatever it takes now to figure it out. That's why getting your certification licenses are important in this manner. But Steph, how about those people? They own a commercial clinic. They're not even massage therapists, but they own it. Can I not do that in a home-based business? The thing about home-based business is that you will be the main character of that business. You're going to be the main operator. You're going to be the business owner. You're going to be the receptionist. You're going to be the therapist. You're going to be everything. So depending on where you live, there are some zoning rules. We're going to talk about this within the season, but there's a lot of, rules and regulations that you're only supposed to work as the homeowner or as a person who lives in that home. Well, in a commercial clinic, technically you don't have to be a massage therapist to own a clinic. Like a restaurant is not really a chef. I mean, in the context of if you're a restaurateur, you can be a restaurateur without being a chef, but you know how to run the business or you know how food works, so on and so forth. So it's similar in that aspect if I got my idea correct. But in a home-based business, it's all you. So getting the required certifications would be essential in this manner. And again, it boosts your credibility and it saves you for future issues just in case you would have them. Do you understand? Perfect. So let's say you're done with that stage, you already got the certifications. What should you do next? Because you got everything already. Next, find your niche. Steph, this is not a YouTube channel we're trying to grow. Why do we need to find the niche? Here's the thing. Looking for a niche would help you target the audience or the potential customers or clients that you want to see. For example, if you're an athlete, you're a big, gym lover, would you want to work in a spa where you're going to do hot stones, aroma aromatherapy essential oils. Would you want to do that? Doesn't make sense. I mean, you can, but do you really want that ambience? Because if you're already an athlete, you love gym, for example, wouldn't be therapeutic or sports massages would work best for you? Think about that, right? And I'm going to give you an example. I wanted to try everything before I settle and see where I'm really good at and take courses. And I realized spas, they make me dull. I mean, it's nothing wrong with spas. It's just that I think my brain's not working enough when I work in a spa. Second, sports, I do love watching them, but it's not my thing. So would I be a good fit in a sports clinic? For me, no. This is why it's important to get a niche. It's easier to target the people you want to see if you know what you're offering. Picking a niche would be essential in the terms of looking for the best customers in the area. Because to be honest, some of us just wants to do spa stuff. Because maybe you're a massage therapist slash anesthetician. That makes sense. Or maybe you want to be a pediatric massage therapist where you're just focused on kids, or an infant massage therapist where you're focused only on babies. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's the thing that you want to focus on, or maybe you want a sports related massage therapy service. Right? Maybe you're also a physiotherapist or a physical therapist slash massage therapist. Maybe you want to combine two things together. So figuring out what's the niche that you want in starting your home-based practice would help, because at least you know how to market yourself, that you are an expert in this field. You're already an expert in what you do. When you get the certification and everything, you're already an expert in that field. But I think it's also good to be an expert of something specific. So for example, me personally, I love family care because I'm very family oriented. No, it's not because I'm family oriented, but it's just that, for example, I have a client that's a family, so they book my day. So I would see the mom first while the dad is taking care of the baby, and then they switch, and then now the kids I would massage, and I would see their family grow. Like, there's a lot of things going on in family care. Maybe you want to take care of the mom first because the mom is maybe pregnant, having a hard time working, and the dad is having a lot of stress at work, so on and so forth. So, because I'm so good in that aspect, I'm focusing on family care. We can even be, let's say, a golf specialist. You're treating clients that are specifically playing golf, and you're the expert in that. Yes, you can still do the other massage therapy stuff, but you are a golf specialist. So people are gonna look for you because they know that you're expert in that. But Steph, I just started. I seriously don't know what to do. Well, my best advice is when you're gonna start your own home-based practice, my suggestion is always work for another clinic first. Get to see, get to feel how they run their clinics, what demographic do you really want to work with? Do you want to work with pregnant people, sports people, kids, babies, older people? Try to feel and see. Do you want to work with car accidents, so on and so forth? Like, try to see it from another point, like another clinic, maybe. Because again, you're never going to earn right away as a home based business. You need to take time, you need to build, right? So you can still work in another clinic or spa while working on your home based business. You see where I'm going with this? So while you're looking for your niche, do a trial and error. Earn as much income, earn as much experience as you can have. You're, you doing your own thing is not a bad thing, but there's a lot of risks with working alone. You're never going to learn. You're going to see, you're only going to rely on what you know. So if you are just a graduate, you just passed, my suggestion is work with other clinics first while you're also working on your home based business so you see what you really want. And once you see that from happening, you can apply it on your home based business and see what you really want to niche down. It's going to take a lot of time. It took me like 2 years to figure it out because obviously I needed to find clinics and stay there for a couple of months, 3 to 6 months to a year to figure out if that's really what I want. I even stayed in a car accident clinic because I thought that I liked it, but it turns out I did not. So, you know what I mean? Like, it would take time to figure these things out. And again, having a niche, I would support it because again, I know you're already an expert by getting the licenses that you need, but you're an expert of something which you can target and it's easy to market. You got me? You got me there? Perfect. Running a home based business is tricky in the sense that you're bringing people into your space, into your home. So if you do not know how to find the right audience, you might invite people that you don't really want to be part of your practice. So, again, finding the niche would help you figure that out, which is extremely good already. But basically, what does it take to find a target audience? You need to understand the demographics, where do they live? Obviously, for a home-based clinic, you're gonna be in a one neighborhood, so you have to study that neighborhood and the neighborhoods around it. What is it like? Is it more of old population, ethnicity, something like that? Is it a working population? Do they even have houses around? Look at your neighbors, right? It's a home based clinic. You need to see what interests them, what are their needs. You need to understand because as a therapist, we are here to provide solution. If we can't find these pain points, it's gonna be a little bit harder. So you need to figure out your target audience. Okay, once you figured out your niche, what target audience are you trying to look for, or what's the potential clients that you're trying to invite in your home-based practice or business. Now create a long-term goal. First, set expectations and goals. So let's say when I moved in my third home-based practice, every time that you move into a new place, you start from scratch. So for example, I live 30 minutes away from Toronto before, and then I moved maybe 45 minutes away from Toronto. There's an overlap, but then the demographic still works. But now I moved 2 hours away from downtown Toronto. I'm in the suburbs. So my demographic would change. The people around me would change. So I would like to set an expectation of how I want it to grow, right? How many days in a week do you want to start? Maybe you want to start 2 days first, 9 to 5, or maybe you're gonna just open Monday to Sunday, and then if someone books, you book. Like, what's your business hours, right? And then if you have a kid, because not all part-time jobs are 20 hours. Maybe you only want to work 5 hours a day, or sorry, not 5 hours a day, like 5 hours a week. In that case, how are you gonna manage that? Right? So those things you need to consider, like what are your expectations, right? And then let's say your business grew and you check the zoning. Zoning says you can hire an employee. So maybe you hire someone who does Brazilian waxes if you're into that thing, or maybe you can hire an acupuncturist to work under your home-based practice. Yes, it can be done, but check your zoning. We're going to be talking about that within the series, so stay tuned. And again, if you want to learn more, I have a free ebook for you. Just visit www.theworkfromhometherapist.com and click start here, and you'll see the ebook. But then again, let's go back to the topic, right? Evaluating these things would help you develop a plan on how to scale. So I'm going to give you a real life example. So again, going back, I started here by June, and the new area that I live with doesn't have enough massage therapists. So the demand is really high. So instead of me chilling, relaxing a bit, thinking that it's going to take me a little while, I became busy right away because I studied the demographic. I did a market research before I opened everything up. People know me around here already, but there are still some people who are still looking, right? So, in that sense, I have a goal already. My goal is maybe wait for a year and see if I'm going to add more days. But now I think I'm pushing it to a limit. I think I need to add another one more day to just accommodate more people. So instead of working 20 hours, I'm already starting working 25, and my goal is 15 to 20 people per week already. So, I mean, my goals are changing, but again, I've set an expectation, and the expectations I had is already on the top. So it means it helps me decide how to continue in my home based business. Next, creating a business plan. So now that you've set everything, you got other stuff, make a business plan. And this is the biggest mistake I've made. It's the worst decision that I've done to not create a business plan. It's not just a document, it's a progression. It's like a map that you're trying to build to ensure that you reach the treasure at the end, or you see the light at the end of the tunnel. You need to plan everything. How many clients you're gonna see? Like what I told you, you need to make a plan, because let's say right now you're just a home-based business, but maybe one day you want to open your own brick and mortar, or you want to expand. There are some laws in working in a home occupation or a home business that you can hire employees. Like even if it's in your home, you can still hire people, and that's still extra income. See, like a commercial clinic. Like that's what I've been telling you guys, right? Depending on where you live though. Okay? Check it first. But you know what I mean? Like planning ahead would be better, and having options alongside with it would be the best option, because what if plan A didn't work? Then at least you have plan B. If plan B didn't work, then you have plan C. And let's say out of all the three plans, all three didn't work, you can find the best plan or make another plan, right? So having a business plan would be good, and especially if you're trying to expand further, like further outside your home. So business planning is one of the ground foundations that you should be thinking when starting a home-based business. Doesn't mean that it's only in your home, you don't have a plan. You need a game plan. And starting a business with no plan at all is a disaster. Have a plan, have contingency plans actually to figure it out. Because who knows, 1 or 2 years, you're not even working with other spas or clinics anymore, or maybe less than that, 6 months, right? Or maybe now you can have a plan, like maybe you want to expand, right? So think about business planning. Having a business plan for me is the best thing. You're prepared, and even prepared just in case you fail. And again, when you fail, don't stop, just continue. Failure is a sign that you're trying, and as long as you're trying, success should be right in front of you. You just need to try and try again and again. Like what I told you, having no business plan is the worst decision I have ever made, and I would never do that again. Now that you made a business plan, you got all the certifications, you got your niche, now you can start implementing your business process. With what you have, try to get and envision an idea, like how are you going to meet clients? How are you going to market? Do you want to buy a software to run your business? Where are you going to buy the tables, the equipment? How much budget do you have? That's important in business planning. You can't just spend money because you think you have it. You know, Remember, business is not always stable. So there's good days, there's bad days. How are you going to prepare for that? So once your plan is set, start implementing and follow the plan. And again, all of the other options that you have. As one thing that you also need to check for a home-based business plan is actually checking zoning laws and legal consideration. So basically, you're going to understand residential regulation. So I have a couple here. I'm going to be reading them to you. So basically, zoning laws, that's how I understand it. Let me Google it to make sure. I don't want to be talking here and then, it's wrong. Zoning laws. So basically, according to Investopedia, zoning is basically the law that regulate how real property can be used in certain areas. And that is important. So I'm going to give you a few examples. So for apartment and condos, so if you're owning it, you have to ask the board. There's a board there, like a tenant board or the superintendent, on how it works if you open a business there. Okay. And then if it's lease, you have to ask the owner if they would cover you or if they would allow you for that. But Steph, what if they won't allow it to happen? Well, I'm not going to tell you to lie to your landlords and stuff, but there's a lot of other options, which is subleasing and mobile businesses. However, that's not really part of the scope of the home-based practice that we're doing, but there are ways to do it. I just don't want to say things that I'm not really sure of, because in my previous experience in the apartment that I'm working with, all I did is ask the superintendent and they allowed it, right? Which was all the suggestions given to me. So I would stick with that. But I will look into it for you. Next, if it's your own home, then you need to talk to an accountant and see how much or what percentage of your home can be used in the business part, so that so at least you obey the zoning laws. For example, in my new place, I think it's 20% I'm allowed to use. So 20% of my home, it means I can use for business. So that's the logic of it. But then let's say you are renting a house. I did have a call from the insurance before when I started it. And what I gathered from that is you just have to ask your owner if they're willing to do a slip and fall, or they change their residential insurance to a business insurance. So it covers the tenants also. But if you're registered or you're licensed, you're usually supposed to have a professional liability insurance anyway. So, you know what I mean? You might be able to see that from happening. I'm just so bummed out about the apartment part. But you know what? I never had any really issues because, again, ask your superintendent, send to the tenant board around the area if they are willing to do it, because some of them might allow. There are rules. Again, this one is a bit hard for the apartment part, especially for the leasing part, because again, it really depends. In my experience and some of my clients' experience, we were able to get away with asking the superintendent or writing a letter to the tenant board if they allow it, and then obviously checking the zoning laws, and again asking insurance and getting extra insurance for that. So that's the process, right? But again, it probably depends. The same thing as leasing a house, it has to be under who owns the house. But if it's your house, having a business insurance also tied up would be good. So at least just in case something happens, it covers your business as well. I want to add something for zoning. For zoning, it really depends on where you live. I'm going to give you an example. In Toronto, I'm only allowed one employee to work with me because I live there. But when I move to my new place, I'm allowed to have two employees. See, because this is a different town and that's a city. Like, it's different things. It's similar in a sense. So it really depends. Another thing, previously, the town that I'm living with, they allow businesses to be done in the ancillary building. So, for example, I have a garage and I can turn it into a space where I can do my business. In the other county, they allow that. In my county, they don't. So, but I can do business inside the actual house, but I can't do a business in the ancillary house, or a house, or not ancillary house, the ancillary property, or the property that's not the main area that you're going to conduct your business. So those are the things that I need to consider as well, right? So that's why zoning is important. You know, you need to see what you're working with. I mean, yeah, you can probably get away with it in the beginning. I'm not saying you should do it, regardless of not checking or checking. But again, like, remember the first thing I told you for foundations? What did I tell you? Rewind it so you see. What did I tell you? Protect yourself now so you don't have to think about it later. Easy. Don't cheap out. Again, if something happens to that table, it's your problem. It's your commercial or your professional liability insurance, right? You don't want to harm people. You want to do good. So again, invest in quality materials as well. So suppliers, are think about, where are you going to get it? Are you going to get it in wholesale or retail? For tables, I would get it wherever I can, save a little bit. But again, the table has to be a quality. But for sheets and oils, I always go for wholesale, because at least, I only buy one time. So in general, those are the types of things that you need to think about when you start a home-based practice. You need to understand that you're your business. Doesn't matter where you work. You have to treat your own home-based business like a brick and mortar business. Brand it. Have a goal. Have a vision. Right? And with this vision and goals, try to see, do you want to niche down into something like prenatal, spa, sports, therapeutics, so you know who you can target, right? You know your target clients, you know your potential clients, your potential patients, because it's easier to market if you know who you're helping. Second, ask your zoning laws, get the certifications that you need. Again, some people might say I can get away with it, but what if, knock on the wood, something happens in the future and you don't have anything to back it up? Sometimes home-based practices doesn't work for everybody, but 80% to 90% of the time there is a way. So just make sure that you get all of those legislations. Checking the zoning in these regulation is not a, a jail free card or something. It's to utilize in how you grow. Like if I didn't check that zoning when I was living in Toronto, I wouldn't even have extra income when I hired an esthetician working with me in my home. And again, the areas that I was working is still within the allowed percentage. So it's like I'm working in a commercial clinic because while I'm massaging, another person that I pay per hour is also making money for me. So you know what I'm saying? Like there is a way. So it's learning the zoning is not just to get you out of trouble in the future, but also to see how you can scale, right? How you can expand your business accordingly. Again, zoning depends on where you live. I'm not going to put a lot of effort on that right now, but that's one of the ground rules or foundation that you need. Again, checking your insurance as well, checking what covers you, keep you safe. Again, you don't want to do any harm, not only to your patients, but for the people, your neighbors, and you yourself. You need to protect yourself and everyone else. So get insurance to keep your practice safe. And of course, gather all the essential equipments that you use. Try to see where you're going to buy them, retail, wholesale, how often you're going to buy them, and get quality products. Once everything of those have been set and you've thought about it, then it means you're ready for the next step, right? Ready for the next step. And again, all of these things we talked about should be under your business planning. You have to plan. You can't just go in a war without no plan at all. You can't just go to war without anything. You need to be prepared. And having a plan, having contingency plans, plan A, plan B, plan C, D, E, F, G, H, all the letters of the alphabet plans would help you figure out how to scale and how to mediate issues if they arise. So again, that's the most important part in starting a home-based business. So if you liked it, go visit my website theworkfromhometherapist.com. Everything would be below. I have a free ebook there on an ultimate guide in starting your own home-based business as a therapist. It's all there. It's all laid out. And if you have any questions, just go to that website and let's figure this out together. Okay. And again, my name is Steph, the massage therapist. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe for more videos.